Hey, everybody. Happy Talking Up Tuesday. This is Michael Demont here on behalf of Be Well Magazine, here to bring you Talk It Up Tuesday. Welcome to today's show. We're going to go ahead and get started in this topic, talking about um, when do you know if it's time for you to get a fresh start, and talk about just shifts in our entrepreneurial journey. As we go through this journey, you're going to have some ups and downs. Mani is here in the studio with me. Let me bring her up on the stage and on the screen. Mani, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hey, thanks for having me. Y'all usually get a tired version of me, but I had my second cup of coffee right in time for Talking Up Tuesday, so I'm ready today.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, we're gonna have a good conversation today. All you out there who are joining us and watching us live on Facebook and live watching us live on YouTube, let us know that you're here. Let us know that you can hear us and you can see us. Say hello. Let us know what you're having for dinner because I got to go cook after this. I went to the store and bought a couple of things, so I was indecisive. So I bought like chicken, sausage links, and I got some ground turkey, and I got some some boneless chicken thighs. So I don't know which one I'm making yet, but I'm like I can figure it out once I get in the kitchen and see how I feel.
I feel like we need a behind the scenes Michael DeMond cooking show. I think that's what the people want because you talking about all these delicious meals on Talking Up Tuesday. It's time we see some behind the scenes. How do we
You
really
know,
know you slaying in the kitchen? How do we know?
right, right. You know what's so funny about that? I always said when I retire, I'm going to set my kitchen up in my dream house as a recording studio so that I can have a cooking show. So like my kitchen will be equipped so every time I go in there, I could just click
I
and
love it.
start cooking. That's my dream retirement job right there.
I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
Cool. So, hey, everybody, I want to also let you know at the end of this month, we have the Email Evolution Bootcamp coming up, and you do not want to miss this. I want to get everyone to understand the value of email marketing. So, if you are not already set up to do email marketing, if you don't have the automations, if you don't have landing pages, you don't have a way to get people from your social media onto your list so that they can become customers and people that you do long term business with, you need to join the Email Evolution Bootcamp. This is going to be hosted on bondtobuild.com. The price is only $49. So that's going to get you access to the space. That's going to get you 5 days actually of live coaching. Most people, when you see those people who are doing those big numbers about their business online, it's because they are leveraging their email list. They've done the work on social media to pique people's interest. They earned their trust. They got that email list. And at the click of a button, they can send information out and earns people's trust to want to do business with them and make sales. So we want you to be able to do the same thing within your business. So join us June 26th to June 30th. It's going to be the kickoff. That's going to be the live week. You'll have access to the information that's inside of Email Evolution space. Past these dates, you'll be able to watch the recordings, go back, get the stuff that you need. But we'll have all the modules, everything in there. We're going to take you step by step using constant contact to get you all set up and ready to grow your business and ready to start building up your list so that you can build a nice base of customers. So let's go ahead and talk about today's show, talking about time for change. This conversation was inspired by a couple of things, but the main thing was like we always have these ongoing conversations internally through our group text message, me, Amani, and Carmen. And lately, we're just sitting there going back and forth about all the things we need to do, looking at the plans. And I'm like, you know what? I got a couple things that I have had for some years and have not looked at that I need to share with y'all. So we shared that. Plus, we have been watching some videos that both Carmen and Amani were sharing, and all of it together compounds. I think Amani, you were really the one who were just like stayed up super late at night and put all this stuff together, and it just kind of triggered for everything. So talk a
Yeah.
little bit about like where were you, and then how did that drive you for us to be where we are today about to have this conversation?
So a couple things. I'm pulling up what I wrote the other day as a result of diving deep into just information that made me realize what it looks like when you're in business for 9 years and you lose sight of the vision is what is what got me to where we are today having this conversation. Because when I think about my journey as an entrepreneur, and I'm gonna read this email that I was going to send out as a result of just um, just reflecting on the last 9 years as an entrepreneur, it made me realize I continue to go through these phases of doing well. In the moment it wasn't going well, thinking it needed to be something new, versus you don't like. I'll give the example, like we get one like on a post, and now it's like we switch up the whole plan, or we get no engagement and we switch up the whole plan, versus continuing to go. For example, I've been doing the 90-day mindset makeover challenge, and we're almost halfway through. Day 45 will be tomorrow. And I'm saying we as if it's this whole group of people. In the challenge started with about 30 people that opted in, the newsletter, everything. And not to say nobody's participating, because I would say I'm probably the only one actively participating
Consistently.
right. So on the social media platforms. But it was so crazy. The other day I got a comment, and there was someone who's been following along on the post, and they weren't necessarily posting it. So imagine if I would have been discouraged and stopped the post every day for the prompts for the 90-day mindset makeover challenge, just because I didn't see the impact. So sometimes we get lost with our vision because we don't see the impact that it's making right now in the moment. And I had no idea. And that would have been the last person I thought was following along in the challenge. And I saw her comment yesterday, and I'm like, wow, when we give up prematurely. And that's what the sermon was about on Sunday at church. So don't get me started on that conversation. But when we give up too fast, we really hinder our ability to grow. And when I was reflecting on those 9 years, I'm going to just read it real quick so you can hear where my energy is coming from. I realized what it looks like when you give up too quick, because being in business for 9 years could look totally different for people who don't give up too soon. The same 9 years it took me to get to where I am today looks totally different from someone who stayed diligent and consistent for the entire 9 years. So I was writing this email. I was so ready to send it. Now, y'all who are tuning in, do not listen to this and expect this email to come out. I'm sharing with y'all some behind the scenes that I really don't get too excited, because I don't think I plan on putting this out anymore. So I wrote the email. I said, hey, Naturally community. I was reflecting over the weekend about how long you all have been supporting our brand. I want to take a moment to share my deep appreciation. I have a gift for you at the end of this email. Let's go down memory lane. Were you there in 2014 when our company was just a blog of my thoughts after experiencing insecurities from bullying? Were you there in 2015 when we launched our Puff Going Up on the School Day shirts? Were you there in 2016 when I lost sight of the vision but kept posting content consistently in the midst of the confusion? Were you there in 2017 when I started hosting success sessions on my college campus for my peers? Were you there in 2018 when we opened our first pop-up shop? Were you there in 2019 when we expanded to our second and third location in the Bronzeville Collective and Mayfair Mall? Were you there in 2020 when we launched our jogger sets? Were you there in 2021 when we rebranded and became Natural E? Were you there in 2022 when we relocated to Arizona? And are you here now in 2023 when we're resetting, refocusing, and staying true to our mission and vision? If you are here and you've read this far, I have something for you. Years ago, you know what? I'm pausing there. I'm not reading the rest because I don't know if I'm.
You're thinking like, why aren't you sending this email out again?
So I'm not gonna share it because I don't know if I'm gonna do it or not. But I'll send it to you to proof for you before I send it out. But when I was writing all that stuff down, I literally went on my Facebook page and found pictures from every year and things I forgot happened. I totally, because I got a call like last week from someone who I highly respect in Milwaukee, asking me how to go about starting a collective store space for other brands in Milwaukee. And I'm like, I forget what it looks like on the outside. To me, I just keep going and doing new things. And I totally forget that I was in literally 3 different store locations over the span of the last 9 years as a retail entrepreneur. And so those moments of reflection really matter, really, really, truly matter as an entrepreneur. And I just want to make sure I shared that so that people take the time to go back into the history of their businesses. People study the history of companies, study the history of your own company, and understand where you were, where you are, and where you're going. It's really up to you to do that, like backtracking and resetting. It's so important.
Mm, I love that. So that was a perfect segue into like my experience with this conversation. And you, I don't know if you know, I'm gonna tell you right here, you have been a tremendous help to me over the past 2 weeks. And not even, we haven't even gotten to the heart of the work, but just like in our conversations that we've been having, the way you put me in check the other day when I was talking about all the difference between We Merge Media and Michael DeMond, like you were able to receive that information and just position it and place everything in a way that I'm just like, that makes total sense. So it gave me so much confidence in any university. It gave me so much confidence to be able to show up online um, the way that I've been wanting to, but wasn't sure if it was going to make sense to people. So I wanted to just tell you that, and then I'm going to go into this conversation. But it's been a very big help of clarity.
I
Uh,
love it.
so today in the morning meditation and reflection, we did that exercise where we talked about. You told us to write a letter to our limiting belief, and my limiting belief. I wrote a letter to the negative thought that I would not be able to be a CEO of my company and build a team. That was the fear that I've had long time ago. I had been going back and forth. I want to say probably I've been in working the. See now I changed my language because I was about to say I've been in business for 20 years. I've been working in the business for 20 years. And 10 years ago, I sat down and kind of made a roadmap about, what would this company look like if this company was generating X amount of dollars, had this kind of team, served this many clients. And I sat down, paper and pencil, wrote all this stuff out. I probably still have that thing somewhere in some file cabinet. I need to find it because I think that would just be so um, a full circle moment to find it. But in my mind, I was like, oh, I can do this. It looks easy. I see the numbers. But that negative limiting belief was that I wouldn't be able to sustain a company, maintain to generate a revenue at that level where I would then be responsible for like keeping people on staff, making payroll. It was all the responsibilities that went along with being a CEO that kept me really limited. I told myself and got comfortable with the idea of like I could just be a one person business. I could just do all this stuff on my own. And that was really my decision about why I wanted to operate in that way. But, as I've been going and developing relationships with clients and all this, and when we talked about, is it time for change? Is it time for a pivot? And I reflected, I'm like, I've always had in my heart to be able to build a team of people and create an opportunity for the next generation, people who love to do what I do, to be able to have a place to learn and to be able to develop and grow their skill. And, when we had the conversation, we were talking about that, I'm just like, this isn't time for me to back away from that full vision that was given to me and was so clear. This is really time for me to go into it deeper, even with the fear, and not pivot and turn away from it. So, that exercise of reflecting, you talked about looking back on entrepreneurial journey and, being able to learn and figure out like, how should I continue to move forward? That was the thing for me, is really just kind of identifying, like I always had in my heart a long time ago. I remember going to see buildings and downloading sheets from all these different spaces. I drew the building out about where the intern team was going to be, where the leadership team was going to be. We had conference rooms and all this, all mapped out. And I never dove into it. I never set it as a goal, and I never worked on it, all because of fear. That was the thing that kept me from it. First time telling somebody that, actually.
Fear can be crippling. What is that inside of us that allows? So let's think about real life in terms of fear. Give me an example of something you've done anyway, even though you had that you were scared, even though you had that fear in you.
Leaving Wisconsin was one.
So what was it in you that said, I'm doing it anyway, when it came to the move versus the I'm going for the $1 million uh,
Mhm.
agency?
That's a good one. So I think there's two things that immediately come to mind. When I was moving, it was only, I felt like the risk was only on me. So I had decided I was going to move. And if I was going to take a risk and things didn't work out, I was okay with that, because I know that I can bounce back and recover from whatever happens in that process. I did talk to my family, my immediate family. I told my mom, Michaela had graduated high school, and I told her she was already going to school anyway. So I was like, okay, now I don't have to worry about that. And then I was telling my mom, like, hey, I'm going to be leaving Wisconsin. And I just put it out there. I'm like, if anybody want to come with me, you can. But I was not attached to the idea. It was like, I'm going regardless. I'm gonna take this risk. I'm gonna take this chance because I saw a different life for myself on the other end of that. And the idea of not pursuing that versus pursuing it and failing, I was totally cool with like pursuing it and failing just so I wouldn't be stuck with like, oh, I wish I would have done that, or what if I didn't do that thing. So like, I think it was the risk was minimal for me. I was okay taking that risk on my own
Yeah.
versus the other idea. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I want to make sure I'm hearing you. Is were
Okay.
you not attached to the outcome or the idea of moving?
Um, I was not, the fear part would have been, what if I move and it doesn't work?
Mhm.
And that didn't scare me anymore. I was
Mm,
okay with it if it didn't work because I
it's
believed
very-
in my confidence to recover from that.
Oh, okay. I got more to say. I'm gonna listen to the other part first.
All right. So on the other one, when you asked me about the business and the CEO and the $1 million revenue plan for the business, the fear was there are more people involved in that structure. And if it doesn't work now, it doesn't just affect me. It affects all these people who are also employees of the company too. So that was the fear in that scenario.
Mm. And it's a quote, and I'm gonna mess it up. Where they say, if whatever your dream is, if it don't scare you, it's not big
Mhm.
enough. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
so, literally, in your own words, basically just said, it like the risk didn't scare me enough. Like moving, like but it's crazy because if somebody else taking that leap to move is the scariest thing they could ever do in their life. But
Mhm.
for you, that same fear that they have for moving is the fear you have for business. And the thing is like, are you fearful of the success or are you fearful of the failure? And if you're fearful of the failure, are you already anticipating the failure? And
That's true.
if you are anticipating the failure, because when you think about risk in terms of how it impacts other people, you're already anticipating not only your failure, but their failure. Because if they don't do their part and you not doing your part based on this anticipation of the failure, then everybody in the plan had no intention to succeed. And so
Yeah.
I'm just listening to you and thinking about how we operate as humans, as entrepreneurs, and it really got me thinking right now, like how many things in our lives are we going about our daily lives and anticipating not going right or not going well? And I've been, because of this 90-day mindset makeover challenge, I've been in such a deep space of everything is going to work out. And if
Mhm.
and then to me, there's no such thing as it not working out because everything is literally going to work out in the way it was aligned to work out, in the way that it was supposed to work out. And so, even if, like, I love the whole just saying and at the end, like, it won't work out. And like, what, like, if it didn't work out, that doesn't mean that 5 years from now, you're looking back and saying, wow, I have this massive marketing agency that's extremely successful. And I understand exactly why I had to go through what I had to go through at that, at that time. And I
Right.
think it's so important for us to reframe that because also something I've been wanting to talk about in our meditation group because we focus so heavily on mindset. Something I've been wanting to talk about because we watch all these videos, motivational videos about just go for it, just do it. We see the Eric Thomases, the Oprahs, the Beyoncés of the world, and it just has me in a place right now where I'm like, the only thing that's gonna stop me from getting to that level of success is my mindset.
Mhm.
And
It's
so
true.
if I accept that where I am right now is as far as I can go, or even where I am right now and wanting to go a little bit further, if I accept that that's as far as I can go, that's going to be my reality. And so I'm working so hard right now to get my mindset to a place of knowing exactly where it is I want to go and aiming for that. because something you said, Mike, that is blowing my mind is that I was okay with, being a one person business and when I think about that is I think about how often we settle. People have so many conversations around settling in relationships and settling in, your job. But when we settle on lifestyle, that's the part I feel the worst about. Like that's the part I
And
feel.
that's one place I won't settle in.
Yes, but it's interesting that you say that because to me, settling for a one person business is settling for a lifestyle. Settling for lifestyle, and that's why I said lifestyle is the one that I am the most passionate about talking about because that's the one that matters most. It feeds into every other aspect of your life. Whatever
Right.
lifestyle you settle for is the lifestyle your kids are going to have to settle for until they become adults and get to figure it out on their own. Whatever lifestyle you settle for, your partner ultimately is going to have to settle for that lifestyle. Like when we think about settling for lifestyle, we're literally settling and determining and making the determination that what I have right now is enough and I'm not going for nothing else. And I just think that I feel horrible for people who feel that way, including myself. Until I moved to Arizona, I didn't have my sights on anything beyond Milwaukee. I feel bad for myself for thinking that way. I was talking to my mom yesterday. No shade to Milwaukee. I love my city. But I was talking to my mom earlier and I was like, Mom, it wasn't until I moved to Arizona where I had a clear enough mind to really slow down and process my day and enjoy myself and just operate on one thing at a time. In Milwaukee, my head was cluttered with so much. But literally, since I've been here, I just look out. I've been able to reframe my struggles, reframe the things that are overwhelming me. Because the moment I look out and see a palm tree, or the moment I look out and I see the mountains, I'm like, girl, man, those problems
You
are
living the life.
like those problems are so minimal, and I'm able to navigate them a lot better. But I also am going to do a live video later today about how we reframe our success. So I'm going to save the rest of my thoughts on that.
Okay. So you said a couple of things that made me think back to our title about a fresh start and how, if it's time for a fresh start. You know, we have been having this conversation over the past week, and for y'all who are missing out on these conversations, you like, I need to be around people who want to have these conversations. Make sure y'all will on bondtobuild.com. It's a free membership because we open the door. Even tonight, if somebody wants to jump in on this conversation, the link to be in the studio with us is right there inside the community.
Yes,
So
Tish,
anybody
I
who
see
wants to
in
join,
the comments. Tish, we'll let
yeah.
it.
She said something earlier today that I'm gonna bring up too, because I remember her talking about time and like when is it gonna be the time? When is the breakthrough coming? So I want to touch on that a little bit. But in your recent comment, you just said when you moved to Arizona, it gave you the space to be able to slow down. Number one, it gave you the ability to reframe. Like when I think about like starting over, and don't necessarily mean starting over from scratch and eliminating everything you learned and did, but it's more about like taking a moment to kind of stand back and look at things and reassess things so that you can move forward in the best way. So there's something about being able to take that moment to pause things, reevaluate. They tell you when you make a business plan, the business plan that you make today is not going to be the business plan that you're forever going to use in the rest of your life of your business. Like you're going to have to come back, retool, move things around, see what works, what didn't work. So this is ongoing evolution that I think as entrepreneurs, we don't allow space for. We just like, I had this idea to do it like this. And if it doesn't go like that, then it's broken and it doesn't work. And now I need to go do something else. And we talked about that too, always starting different ideas every time. I agree with you that lifestyle is key because my motivation to move was to get in the type of environment that offered the lifestyle that I wanted year round. So I went to California first, then I came here to Arizona, but both of those places, they were my number one and two options about where I wanted to move was because I know in the wintertime, I could still enjoy the lifestyle I wanted to live and not have to be, um, tied down and in and hoping for a sunny day one day. Like that was driving me crazy. So that's what I was really escaping. And then speaking earlier about Natisha, she talked about time. And Natisha, if you want to put something in the comments, kind of letting us know your thought on that. I think that's the other thing that makes entrepreneurship journey is it's difficult because like the time that you want stuff to happen and the time that stuff is going to happen based on the actions and activity that you did is dare I say it's not up to you. Would you say like you can have a plan and an idea and work it and you can do all the small steps that lead up to the date, but I don't feel like we have as much control over the outcome of how those things that we put into are going to work. We put time into it, the thing delivers a result, and then we have a decision to make about how we pivot around that. You know, because there's God's time, and we just have no control over that, regardless of how well your planner is outlined and how detailed you are about showing up at the times you say just don't show up.
And that's why I asked the question earlier, because it matters if you are able to disconnect from the outcome or not be attached to the outcome. When you're not attached to the outcome and you're focused on doing your part every single day, no matter what, and showing up, and not just showing up, I'm learning to show up well. That's something I'm working on. When you learn to do that, you like the outcome, good or bad, whatever you determine to be good or bad, like you're able to navigate entrepreneurship in a lot healthier way because you're not so caught up in what you don't have control over. And if you don't have control over the outcome, why spend so much time pondering on it and strategizing based on the outcome versus strategizing based on what you know you need to do to get to where you want to go? And so that sounds like the outcome, but when I say outcome, I mean the ultimate outcome. So we can strategize for income. We can strategize for how many people we want to impact through like membership or how many members you want in your membership program. Like numerically in the numbers, I think that that outcome, yeah. Like, but as far as the outcome of success or whatever that thing is, I think that's where it comes down to it's not in your control. So don't spend too much time trying to make sure it happens because it's gonna come. And then the other thing that you said, the other thing I'm thinking of when I was listening to what you said is the fact that not only the outcome being out of our control, but oh, what was I about to say? The outcome being out of our control, but I just totally lost my thought talking too fast. It's
Anything
going.
like the pivoting of the was that on there?
I totally forgot. It's definitely gonna come back to me, but I just wanted to be able to communicate that there are certain things that are in our control, and then there's things that oh, that's what it was. I knew it was gonna come to me. Possible and 90%. Let me stop giving numbers because I don't know if that's true. For me, 90% of the time I'm spending time working hard on the wrong thing. I realized that through my entrepreneurship journey. When I think about the last 9 years, there's a lot of things that I had a plan for, and sometimes the actions in our plan are the wrong ones to get to the destination we're trying to get to. Like sometimes we're working on the wrong thing. We're doing the wrong hard work.
That's a good one. That's a good one right there.
It's
The
not gonna.
wrong hard work. Let me write that down real quick. Okay, go ahead.
That's it. Sometimes we're doing the wrong hard work. So what you said earlier about reevaluating our plans is key in your entrepreneurship journey. You talked about looking at our business plans, like not even just that, revisiting your mission and your vision statement. Because I was looking at mine and I ain't talked nothing about my mission or vision statement in the last couple of years. And I'm like, dang, that is my mission and my vision. Like what? Like why am I trying to do all
What have I been doing?
let me get back in alignment. Man, when I tell you clarity and alignment is the season that I'm in, and nobody can take me out of this lane that I'm currently driving in. I am so clear. I'm so clear, and I don't want nothing to do with nothing new right now because you know how I get. I be so ready to create, 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 but I'm about to work on mastering, mastering, mastering.
Mhm.
Yeah, I definitely
Yeah.
appreciate you sharing.
So you made me think of a couple of things I wanted to just bring back to Tisha's comment because we talked about, she said, thinking that it's supposed to be overnight. That was the part about the timing. Because even overnight can be subjective too. And everybody who ends up making it to a certain point will always say, it looked like overnight success today, but this was even your mom said that when she talked about the retreats.
Mhm.
Like this was a journey that took years and years and years of relationship building, conversations with people. Like, it always feels that way. And because I think that's the way that, people market entrepreneurship online. Do this and you'll get that in this much time. but they don't take into consideration how long it took them to figure that out before they got to that point. And then like everybody else, even if they did the exact same things, may not be able to produce the same outcome because the people they know are different, their mindset are different. So there's a lot of hidden factors that are involved in that stuff that people don't take into consideration. And I think the other thing that I wanted to touch on was mindset. So when we talked earlier about, what's the difference between when I had that idea 10 years ago and now. So now I'm able to dive into that vision I had. That was a part two. Now I'm able to dive into the vision I originally had. When you talked about looking at your mission and vision statement and realizing like I haven't even been doing this in the past couple of years, that moment when you're making the mission and vision statement, like I used to hate those exercises. But what I've learned is when you start going through them and it clicks and the clarity comes, and then how easy things flow after that once you do that. But we all, and I'm not gonna say everybody, but most of the time, most people lose sight of it and then end up going down a different path. We recently got an email from one of our members who said the same thing. Like, I went back and saw the mission and vision I wrote down, and all my answers that I've been asking myself over the past few weeks were right there. It's just that I lost sight of the vision. So that's another thing. Like if you had that enlightenment and you had that gift that was placed within you to do at that time, and you trusted it enough to then be like, let me build out all this other stuff based on this, that's where I feel like it's important for you to have the right people around you, being plugged into the right communities and know how to protect your peace because you can easily be taken off track. And like you said, working hard on the wrong thing. I've done that so many times. So I just had to touch on that because you made me think back to that mission and vision. It's like a stage of enlightenment that feels so good in the moment, but then we like, okay, I did that part. Now I'm done, and I don't want to look at it anymore, and I don't think about it anymore.
That's good. You just gave me an idea, and I know I just said I'm done creating, and I need to focus on the lane that I'm in. But remember, I was just saying how I wanted to have a mastermind group. Like I want to be able to mastermind, have these conversations with people who are not even necessarily on our level, but like entrepreneurs who are looking for opportunities to grow and learn together. Um, and I'm sitting here thinking, and I'm like, well, Bound to Build is already that platform. And if we just had a space on there, a mastermind space where people can opt into to have these conversations, I think that'd be dope because as entrepreneurs, we spend a lot of work in the doing of the work. And I think you were just talking about that in versus on.
Yes.
And we spend a lot of time in the business and operations and stuff like that. But the actual on, like the quality, like how am I putting this out there? What does it look like? How am I showing up? I and I think a part of that is our who we are and that natural university work. Being able to do that work amongst a group of like-minded entrepreneurs, I just think is so important. And I think that's the phase I am in on my journey. And I know for a fact if I was consistently around entrepreneurs having conversations like this, intentional conversations like this, I would be 10 steps ahead because it just matters. And sometimes we isolate ourselves as entrepreneurs and we get in our head, especially one person businesses where you don't have a team or staff. It's easy to get caught up in your head. But being able to have those conversations with a group can make a huge difference.
Okay. So let's ask the audience. Do y'all want to participate in a mastermind space within Bond to Build? We need to make sure we're not just doing something new and
Right.
creating a new thing. So I know we have daily meditation and reflection. We have all these different opportunities to take out throughout the week, but intention is the word that you said. People who want to get together with the intention of masterminding around it. So let us know in the comments when you watch this in the replay.
I mean, get me together and gather me because I guess morning meditation is kind of like a morning mastermind.
It is. I feel that way about it. I feel that way about it. Not
Y'all
too.
hold me accountable.
Patricia says she wants that. We got to think about that. Do we already have that space and we're just not utilizing it in that way,
Well,
or do we
Tish,
need
you
to create?
participate. You participate in the morning meditation. Let me know what you think. Should we rename it Morning Mastermind?
Ooh, I like that.
Don't steal
I
my
like
domain, Mike. Don't steal my
it.
domain.
Hey, no, if I have to get it, I'm getting it for you. See, now that you put it out there, we better go get that mug right now.
Right. Don't y'all get sneaky. We don't play about our domains. Morning Mastermind.
I
Oh,
like that idea.
that's it. I hope it don't exist already. Every time I come up with a cool thing, I realize it already
Somebody else was cool as you.
exists.
All right. So yeah, let's go ahead. We can wrap up with this conversation. I think this was a good one. We showed up and talked about the thing that needs to be talked about. Want to hear back from you, the audience, as you watch this replay. Your thoughts on this show. Are you checking?
Yeah, it don't exist the way I envision it existing. So
Of course, because they don't have your gift. Oh
I'm
yeah, morningmastermind.com. It's $1,900. Somebody can buy it
Hey,
for
somebody in the comments convinced Mike to give me a logo for the Morning Mastermind.
you. We're gonna do that though. Okay, cool. Morning Mastermind is good because we do more than meditation. That is true. That is true.
Yeah.
Okay.
We just agreed. We kind of agreed that we was gonna make it 45 minutes instead of 30, and I think 45 is perfect because we really be getting into the mindset stuff, and I just started giving challenges at the end of every session, so that has been really good as well. So I think that I'm switching the name. Y'all heard it here first. Morning Mastermind.
Approved. Got 3 votes. I'm voting, Letitia's voting, and we got your vote. So
That's three.
that's 3. All right, everybody. Well, thank you for tuning in for today's show. We look forward to connecting with you. Remember, if you want to plug in, be able to take part in conversations like this on a regular basis, go and join bound2build.com. Get you a membership. It's free for join us on that space. Inside of there, that's where we offer opportunities for you to connect with other entrepreneurs who are on this journey and I'm looking to grow and build together. And then we have events that we take place. We have courses and modules inside of there to help support you in your entrepreneurial journey. All that stuff is inside the space. So just go to bond2build.com to do that. And for anybody who is available to go to San Diego, the weekend of January 23rd, Dr. K is going to be hosting a Revival on the Water. We're going to be there in San Diego in a couple of weeks, hosting an event there. So we'd love to see some of you there. And if you can't stay for the whole time, Saturday is the day that you can get a day pass for. So if you want to come in for the day, morning meditation and yoga on the beach, breath work, breakfast, lunch, there's a bonfire that day. There's going to be all kinds of stuff going on that Saturday. You can do that. So just go to bewellmagazines.com and you click on the events page and you can find the Revival on the Water there. All right, cool. So thank you, everyone. Great convo, Letitia says. Glad I could tune in. Thank you for joining us. Hey, what's up, Shamani? Thank you for joining us. Welcome to the show. We'll see you back next week, everybody, on Talk It Up Tuesday. Again, if you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. We'll definitely get back to you. All right.
Awesome.
Peace.
Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah.